Hey world, what's going on? This is Nomar here. First, I'd like to welcome you to what I'm considering the first episode in my podcast. I'm gonna tell you a story. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself, then I'll tell you a story. Um, like I said, I'm Nomar. I am a serial entrepreneur by trade. I deal in real estate. I also deal several different avenues of entertainment as far as I run a distribution company. I run an independent record label. I've done some management. I've done some club promoting. I've pretty much done some of it all. Um, but that's neither here nor there. I do fix and flips now, and just in the real estate investment currently, but I do have some other things on the horizon. We'll talk about that as the podcast go on. There's other things going on in the podcast, but that's not what this podcast is about. What this particular podcast is about is why I'm actually starting my podcast today. So, like I said, I've done several things in real estate. One of the things that I've done in real estate was for about the last 2 years, I've owned a recording studio. In that recording studio, I actually purchased some um, podcast and recording equipment, right? Which not even what I'm using at the moment, but I purchased some podcast and recording equipment. And I kept saying that since we have the studio, man, we should also shoot a podcast. And we just never got around to it. Me and several different entrepreneurs or personalities in the industry or whatever, we all talked about it, but we just really never done it, right? Um, what draws me to doing it today actually is just a lesson I learned just yesterday. Well, I'm not gonna say I'm learning, but something that hit me just yesterday. And what hit me yesterday was on my way to um, this investment property that I'm working on. I get a text message that says one of my really close friends is on his way to the hospital because his heart had stopped and they were rushing him to the hospital. Now, that's alarming in itself. The backstory is about 2 to 3 weeks prior, he had already been to the hospital for his heart and had to stay a couple of nights, maybe even a week. It may have even been maybe close to a week that he had to stay hospitalized. But they tried to figure out some things about his heart, right? And in doing so, we had several conversations. One of those conversations were when he was cleared to do physical fitness, that he and I would start working out together to hold each other accountable for our health because I've picked up weight myself, as had he, and we're getting a little older. I'm in my mid 40s now, as is he, and we're just trying to hold each other accountable because we're both actually prior military, so we know what to do. We just haven't been doing it right. And so the conversation kind of goes along the lines of, well, man, as soon as they clear me for fitness, bro, I'm gonna I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna go out. We're gonna start walking, and then we'll just ramp it up from there. And I was like, all right, bet, bro, I'm with it. Well, obviously that's not gonna happen because my buddy's no longer with us, and that actually brought me to today of starting this podcast and shooting this today because I said 2 years ago I was going to do a podcast and I never got around to it. I've had the equipment, the capability, and everything the whole time to do this podcast. I just never done it, right? Because we all think we got time to do it later. Well, for my friend, there isn't any more time. And I don't truly know how much time I got left. So whatever I need to get out, whatever I need to express, I need to do that now because I don't necessarily have the time to do it later or know when I won't have the time to do it later. So um, that made me decide to just come on today and shoot this clip, this quick intro into my podcast. which never had a name, right? It was just always an idea. But I named my company Dioko, which means to press on. Um, I'm gonna also name this podcast Dioko because the mantra that I live by is press on. Like through whatever, we gotta press on. We gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep going. It's mandatory that we keep striking out for our goal, that we keep doing the things we need to do to make things work in the world, right? So that's what's important to us. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do here. That's what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna spend this time telling you guys everything that I go through, all the things I do, how I do them. I'll bring on other friends and colleagues. They'll tell you what they do and how they do it. We'll just go through it all. We'll make sure everyone understands what it is they need to understand or try to understand anyway. I'll do some interviews. I'll talk about different things, being an entrepreneur, being a husband, being a father, how those things correlate. When, the good, the bad, the ugly of it all. I'll just express it all right here to you guys. And I hope that this helps someone. I hope that this actually becomes a tool that someone can use to help their life be better. I want to say thank you to my close friend. I'm not going to say his name or put his name out at this moment. It's too fresh. It's too new. I'll probably bring that up later at another time. But yeah, that's where we are. We're gonna do this Dioko podcast. It's gonna be about what we need to do in life. How can we make things move forward? How can we be the best us that we can be, right? And I'm truly gonna leave it there because truthfully, with everything that just happened, I'm really at a loss for words in this moment. But I just wanted to come on and do this because I wanted to get started. I wanted to hold myself accountable and get started on something I said I would do over 2 years ago, which was start a podcast. So today is the day I started it. Mark it down. This is the beginning.